Hello everyone and welcome to today's video on making a to-do list app with Flutter on IntelliPart. Do you know friends that Flutter is a mobile app SDK that provides native interfaces on a top of high-performance cross-platform engine. It allows you to create high-quality native apps that looks and feels like those created with Objective-C or Java. Flutter allows you to write Dart code in the same way that you would write a code on an Android or an iOS app. This makes learning and understanding how your software works at each stage of development. There are a lot of job opportunities if you have the right knowledge in building mobile applications using Flutter with salary over 10 LPA. Now before we move on to learn about creating a to-do list app with Flutter, do not forget to hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon.
So let's start with what is Flutter. Flutter is actually an open source framework for developing high quality, high-performance mobile applications for Android and iOS. It provides a simple, powerful, and efficient and straightforward SDK for developing mobile applications in Google's own language, which is Dart. So, we are going to cover some of the basic things about Flutter, like what makes it unique and what are the features of Flutter. So, if I talk about the Flutter-based applications, the architecture of Flutter framework is kind of very unique, and it's built very beautifully. Assuming that you guys are aware of what a framework is and they have a solid understanding of object-oriented programming, it will be very easy for you to understand the Dart programming language. If you are unfamiliar with any of these concepts, I would recommend you first to go and brush up these skills. So, do you know that the cross-platform development framework also allows you to write one code and deploy it on several platforms, which is Android, iOS, and desktop. It actually saves developers a lot of time and development work. Cross-platform development tools include web-based tools such as Ionic from Drifty, PhoneGap from Adobe, Xamarin from Microsoft, React Native from Facebook. In the mobile business, each of these frameworks has varied degree of success. And Google has also recently announced a new framework in cross-platform development family called Flutter. Flutter is a user interface toolkit that allows you to create fast, beautiful, natively built applications for mobile, web, and desktop using a single programming language and code base. It is open source and free. It was created by Google and now it is managed by ECMA standard. If I talk about Dart programming language, it is actually used to create Flutter apps. Dart programming is kind of similar to other programming languages such as Kotlin and Swift, and it may be transcompiled into JavaScript code. Flutter is primarily designed to create 2D mobile apps that can operate on both Android and iOS platforms. We can also use it to create full-featured apps with camera storage, geolocation, network, third-parties SDK, and other features. Flutter Frameworks does an amazing job of offering a nice framework for developing mobile applications that are completely platform independent. Flutter Framework will undoubtedly enable a large number of new developers to develop a high-performance and feature-rich mobile applications in the near future by providing simplicity in the development process and high performance in the resulting mobile applications, which is rich and relevant user interface for both Android and iOS platforms. But the question is, what makes Flutter unique? Flutter differs from other frameworks in that it does not use WebView or OEM widgets that came with the device. Instead, it draws widgets with its own high-performance rendering engine. It also implements the majority of its features such as animation, gesture, and widgets in the Dart programming language, which enables developers to simply read, edit, replace, or remove items. It allows developers complete control over the system. Flutter is a free and open source mobile framework. Now we are going to discuss some of the features of Flutter. And the first one is, it is cross-platform. This capability enables Flutter to write code once, maintain it, and run it on multiple platforms. It saves developers time, effort, and money. And the second most interesting feature is hot reloading. When a developer makes changes to the code, are visible instantly thanks to the hot reload. It means that the modifications are immediately displayed in the app. It is a highly useful feature that helps the developer to resolve errors immediately. Accessible native features and SDK. If I talk about this feature, This feature actually makes app creation simple and enjoyable by utilizing Flutter's native code, third-party integration, and platform APIs. As a result, we have an easy access to the SDKs on the both platforms. Now, we are going to learn about the installation of Flutter. So, the first thing which you will do for installing the Flutter is downloading the SDK for your required operating system. So, I would recommend you can go for Flutter SDK if you are using Windows. Then just type this. So, you're going to get the first link, something like this, which is from Flutter. Download Flutter SDK, build apps for any screen. Just click on this. Okay. So, after clicking on this website, so you will have something like this. Now, click on Get Started. Okay, now this is for installation. So if you have a Windows operating system, I would recommend you to click on this. Okay, and majority of the users will be using Windows. And suppose if you have Mac OS, you can use Mac OS. The thing is that the procedure is pretty similar in both of the cases. Now what you have to do, just click on this and there will be the system requirement. I hope so you have to take it into consideration. It should be Windows 10 64-bit. And it should be x86 64-base processor. Then you have disk space should be 1.64 GB, and there are certain tools that you should have, which is Git and Windows for PowerShell. We are going to do it later on. Now get the Flutter SDK, just click on this. So after clicking, so what you will do, your SDK will get installed. Since I already have, so I will cancel it. Okay. So after this SDK has been installed, what you're going to do, just go on your file. Okay. So in this folder of download, I have my SDK, which is Flutter Windows Stable. So what you're going to do, so first you're going to extract it to your required folder. So what I would say first suggest, let's go to the documents. Okay. So as you can see all over here, I have downloaded our zip file for Flutter Windows, which is our SDK. So what you're going to do, first of all, let's create a folder. So go to your local disk C, then here create a folder called SRC. So you can create a folder just by right clicking here and you can name it SRC. Okay, so this is a basic way of creating a folder. I hope so you would be knowing this. So you have created this SRC folder. So the next thing what you're going to do all over here is that you're going to extract this file. So for extracting, extract files, click on this and you can provide your path. So for us, we have to go to SRC and just click on all over here. So you can choose your required folder, which is our SRC. Okay, so just click it all over here and click OK. Since I have already done it, so I won't do it again. But for you, it's recommended to do this. So when you extract your files all over here, so your folder will be present in that required, which is our SRC bin. So in SRC, our Flutter has been extracted, the same zip file which we have downloaded it. Now you can see here we have all the required files. Okay. Now, the next step is you have to add the required environment variable. So, what you're going to do, just click on bin. Okay. Here, what you're going to do, just copy this. So, what you're going to do all over here, just click on here environment variables. So, you can see edit your environment variables for your account. Just click on this. Okay. Now, just select path, then choose edit. Okay. Since you can see I've already pasted it. So, what you're going to do, just click on new and just paste it and add it. Okay, suppose like this and this, just click on OK. Since I've already done it, so I won't do it, but it is recommended for you for your application to work. I hope so. Adding environment variable is clear to you. Okay, now if this step is clear, we will proceed to the next step. Our next step would be downloading our text editor. So for our purposes, we are going to use the VS Code. So just type VS Code and just click on this. So you can download it all over here. Just click on this and the file will be ready. I would be using Windows operating system, so our file would be downloaded. Since I already have it, so I'll cancel it. Okay. Once your VS Code is downloaded, what you're going to do all over here is that you're going to create a new folder, which is in our documents. I have created one folder, which is to-do list app. So as you can see all over here, just go under documents, create one folder called to-do list. Okay. Now, what you're going to do, just open this folder with a VS Code. So I'll show you with a new window. So suppose I have created a new folder all over here. So just right click all over here, go to the new and create one folder such as, you can say to do app. Okay. Once this is created, just what you have to do, just drag and drop it all over here, or you can go it from here, open a new folder. So you can go to your required directory, which is our documents, and it is to-do app. Okay, just click on this and your file will be created. Now just click on this, I trust the authors. So our app would be created. Now inside this, you have to create our Flutter app. Since it's very important for you guys to know that you have already added the path variable. If you have not added the path variable, then your codes or commands won't work. So it is very recommended for you to do that. Now we will go to the next step. So you have opened our folder all over here. The next step which I would recommend you to do that is downloading a Git. So just go all over here, Git downloads, type it. So you can say it will be visible all over here. So with your required operating system, you can download it. Since I have Windows, so I will click on here and I'm going to download 64-bit setup for Windows. Just click on here. So our file will get downloaded. Since I already have it, so I won't do it. So these are the few prerequisites. Now let's get started with certain commands to create our Flutter app. So we are going to open our terminal next. Okay. And here we are going to create our Flutter app. So I hope so it's clear. Its to-do app is already written. So I'm just going to type flutter create hello world. So this command is going to create our hello world project and it will add all the required files. Now it's clear that our file has been created. So if you see all over here, it's going to have a lot of files in which our most important file will be lib. Okay, in which we have our main dart. So these are the certain things which will be present. Now let's run our app and check it. Flutter. Now before that, what you're going to do, you have to go to our hello world app. So cd hello world, click on this. Next thing what you can do all over here is flutter run and just click on this. So it will show you a demo page of how it is run. So I'm going to choose Windows. Okay, and you can either choose Chrome or Edge if you have it. Since I've chosen it Windows, now next thing what I'm going to do all over here is that I'm going to write flutter run. Okay, since we are into our final directory, and you can choose the third option, which is Edge. Okay, so now it will be waiting for the connection from the debug service and it will open on Edge. So once it has been connected, so you'll get a page something like this in which it's written Flutter demo page, and if you push this button, so it's gonna add n number of times the number will be visible. So in this way you can create a demo Flutter app. Okay, I hope so guys, it's clear to you. Now guys, the agenda for our today's session is to create a to-do list app which has this search bar, and this has this, you can add your items something like this. Suppose I have a tuition class at 9, so I'll just add it up, so it will be visible, and there is search bar functionality. Suppose I want to write tuition class, so it will be visible. Suppose the required task has been completed, you can click on this, so it's going to show the line, and suppose once this has been done, you can delete it from here. So now it's visible that tuition class at 9 is not there. So this is our basic to-do app, and I hope so clear to you what we are going to do it. So let's just get started. So first, let me guide you to the project structure. So first, what you're going to do, you have this library. Okay, so inside this library, I have these folders, which is constants, model, screen, widgets, and main.dart. Then create these folder called constants. Here we are going to have our colors.dart file. Suppose we are using TD color red, blue, our background color. So these are the required constants which we are going to be using throughout our application or project. Then we have our model in which we have written something which I'm going to explain you later on. Then you will have your screen in which I have home.dart file, and finally we will have the widgets in which we have to do item.dart. Okay. Now before that, I want you guys to know one thing, that I've also added image. So there are certain configurations which you have to do it. So create a folder inside my app. So just for creating a folder, you can just click on this and it will create a folder. So here you can create a folder called assets, which I have created. So just type assets, and since it's already present, so no need to worry about that. So this is our folder which I have created assets. Okay, and inside this assets, create one more folder which is called images. So since already written images, so similarly you can type images all over here. I hope so it's clear to you. Since I've already done it, so I won't do it. Now, the next process, here, just add this image. Since I have added the image all over here, so it's pretty clear that one of our image is present. Now, it's clear to you that we have added our required dependencies. Now, there is one more file which is very important to add the configuration, which is pubsec.yml. So, since here you have to add assets and then assets/images/, which shows that you have added the configuration that you have added image in our project, which is pretty simple for you. Just add it up. Now let's go to our code and understand what we have done. So first of all, I hope so constant file is clear to you, in which I have added the required colors. Then if I talk about our screen is basically home.dart. So here what I have done, I've imported our following models, the constants and the widgets, which is todo-item.dart. So if you are importing certain files from different folders, so it should be written in this format. Then what I have done, I've created our home component all over here, so which is class home extends stateful widget, and I have added home key and there's a super key. Then finally what I have done, I have overridden and created a state called home state. Then moving on, what I have done is I have extended our home state and there is a final to-do list and I've created this. Then finally I've created an empty list array all over here. Then here I have created the to-do list controller. The most important thing which is to be noticed on is the UI part. So here it's written widget build context and I have written the scaffold. So I'm following the scaffold UI all over here. So you can see this, I have used this variable for our background color, which is white. Then app bar, I'm building our app bar. Then our body is tag and I've added the children's. Under the container, I've added the padding, edge insects.symmetric, in which horizontal is 20 and vertical is 50. Then I've added the child, which is basically these columns which we have, and I've added the search box all over here. Then I've expanded it and I've added certain child and children, in which the container is 8 sets only. Okay, it's very important for you to add this, which has the top 50 and bottom 20. Then we have the child text, and in which I have added all to-dos, which you can see all from here. So this is all we have done in this our app. So which is shown all over here. All to-dos, which has a style text style, font size 30, font weight, you can say the weight 500. Then I have used the for loop all over here, in which basically I am doing for to-do in to-do, if it is reversed, then find the required item. And for this I have added certain functionality, handle to do change and delete the item. Now let's see our alignment. Then for alignment, I have added the bottom center alignment, and in which I have added a container with a margin edge insets only, which has bottom of 20, right of 20 and left of 20. I have added the padding edge insets symmetrics, in which I have horizontal 20 and vertical 5. I have added the decoration for the same, in which it is a box decoration. It has a color white, has a box shadow, in which I have added these all as a functionality, which has a colors.gray, offset 0.0, then there is blur radius, then there is spread radius. Also I have added the border radius, which is circular. So as you can see all over here, that in our search bar, it has this border radius. So you can see at this side. I hope so it's clear to you. Now let's move on and understand the later code. So this is our container, in which I have added the margin edge insets only, which has a bottom 20 and right 20. Then I've added the child, which is elevated bottom, which has a child text. I hope so this is clear to you, which is basically handling the UI part. So next what we have done is I've created this function handle to do change. If I wanted to do change, first I want to set state. If it is done, then it is not equal to done. So this is our conditional programming which we have used all over here, which says basically that if you want to choose a change if it has not been done. Then in order to delete the item, I have passed this parameter as string id, and I've added set state, and in which I want to remove from item where item id equals to particular id. So for deleting any particular item, what we have to do is you have to delete item with that id. So I passed this parameter all over here, and where I have said item is equals to item id. Okay. Now if I want to add any item, so I've added this functionality all over here, in which I have set state, and I've also added to-do list.add to do, in which date time, now, and I've changed to milliseconds since epoch to string. Okay, then to do to text. Okay, then we have all our controller dot clear. So after adding, it's gonna set state. Now this is very important functionality which is basically for our search. So I have this search functionality which I have implemented. So as you can see, if I write something like dinner, so it shows dinner with Jenny. So for the same, the logic is here. So as you can see all over here, I have written void run filter, string entered keyword, then list to do results, which is creating a list. If the entered keyword is empty, then results the to do list, or else results equals to do list, where item is equals to item.todo next, which is to lowercase and it contains the entered keyword to lowercase. So this is a very basic functionality which you can add for a search box. Then for the set state function, this is found to do equals to results. So our set state is set up to finding the required results. Now here is I have created our search box. So as you can see, this is the UI part for the same, in which the padding is same, edge insets dot symmetrical, where horizontal is 15, then the decoration is box decoration, color is white, border radius is kind of circular, on changed value is run filter value. So if the values is changed, it's gonna return the filter value. For the same, the decoration is input decoration, then content padding. Similarly, the size is present, prefix icon constraints, the maximum height, minimum width, border, hint text, and hint style. These are the few of the terms and terminologies, guys, which you have to be cleared about. Then what I have done all over here, I have built our app bar, in which I have added the background color at TDBG color, which is basically white with elevation 0. And our title at the row main axis alignment is space between, and our children is icons. I've added the icons, basically that image one, in which we have TD black and size 30, then container 40, width 40, child clip rect, okay, border radius is circular, and child is image asset. From our assets, image.avatar.jpg, which is basically this file which we have all over here. So in this way, I have created our home page. Now let's go on and check to the next folder. Our next folder is to-do dart. Now just click on this. So here, what are the parameters we have passed for to-do, which is string id, string to-do text, bool is done or not. Then to-do is required with this id, is required with this text, and this is done is set to false. Then I've added the list, in which first ID is morning exercise, then buy groceries, next is checking emails, team meeting. So this is basically the list in which we have created in our model. So this is our required schema for the same of our to-do dart, which is the model. It's pretty simple for you guys to understand it. Just create this list and add these string ID, string to-do text, and bool is done. These are the parameters which you have to add. Then in this there are certain conditions, and basically you have to return a list with the ID, to-do text, and it is done or not. Okay, I hope so it's clear to you, and creating a model is pretty simple. Now the next is our widgets. If I talk about creating our widgets, I have imported the package Flutter Material Dart. Also I have imported model to-do dart, then constants for our colors. Then I've created a class to-do item extends our stateless widget. Here I've added final to-do variable, final on to-do change, or deleting the item. Then I've created the constant to-do item with the key required, which is this to-do, on to change, on to delete with the super key. Then I've created this widget build context, and it is basically returning the container, which has a margin edge insets dot only, and I've added the bottom 20. It has a child list style. On tab, it is, you can say, on to do changed, and shape is round rectangular border. Then there is a content padding, edge inset symmetrical, where our horizontal is 20, vertical is 5, and our title color is white. And the leading icon, is done or not, is a checkbox. So I've added a checkbox all here. Okay, this is basically a condition. You can say ternary operator condition. Okay, if to do is done, then icon is checkbox. Otherwise, the icon checkbox is set to blank, which has the color blue, and the color is TD blue. Then there is a title text. Okay, then there is to do text. Then text style is added, font size is 16, color is TD back, and decoration is to do is done. Then we have the trailing container, we have the padding edge insets, we have the margin, symmetrical, height 35, width 35, the decoration is box decoration, color is TD radius, border radius is circular 5, we have the child icon present, in which the color is white, icon size is 18, icon is icons.delete. On pressed, if it is pressed, then now it will delete the item. This is for icon button, this is for our container we have wrapped, this is our list style, then this is for container. So one recommendation for you guys, whenever you are writing your project or creating any project, it's very important for you to add comments. It's going to help other guys or other developers to understand what you have basically done. Now since we have created our widgets, the next thing is to see how is our main file. So I've imported all these packages all over here, which is material.dart, package flutter services.dart, screen home.dart. This is our function, the main function, and I'm running our my app. Here class my app extends the stateless widget, and this is the pre-required things which are already written. Then our widget, it said system chrome set system UI overlay style. Basically this specifies that style used for system overlays if there are any visible. So as you can see, VS Code tells what this basically says. I will read you out. It says that this method will schedule the embedder update to be run on a micro task. Any subsequent calls to this method during the current even loop will override the pending value, such as only the last specified value takes the effect. You can call this API in this code whose life cycle matches with the desired UI styles. For instance, to change the system UI style on a new page, consider calling pushing popping a new. But this is something which is system UI overlay style, which has a status bar and color is transparent. Then I am returning our material app with debug show checked banner false, and our title is to do app, and this is our home component, which we have done it all over here, created the home component. So in our home.dart, we have created our home component. So I'm calling it here on our main.dart, okay, and this way we have created our project. So there are very small things which we have created, which should be into taking consideration, which is screen, model, and widgets. It's a pretty simple project with a to-do list. I hope so. This project is clear to you and it will give you some inspiration to learn Flutter. So this was it. This was our to-do list app. So as you can see, all we can do all over here, we can check box it. This is our delete icon. This is our profile, and this is our search bar with the search icon all over here. You can add a required item. Suppose I want to add Golden Gym. So just click on this and it's gonna show. Okay, you can add the timings also for the same gym or study at 9. So it pretty shows all the basic functionality. This was a very pretty simple project, and I hope so you would have got some idea regarding Flutter, how to create a to-do list app. So that was all for our today's video. I hope so guys, it was interesting for you to create a to-do list app.
Just a quick info guys. IntelliPad provides full stack web development course in collaboration with ENICT IIT Guwahati. The course link of which is given in the description below.